Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We have a very special guest today. This is Nate from Fresh Coat Digital Marketing. And today we're going to talk about websites, we're going to talk about SEO. But real quick, Nate, for the people who don't know, can you do a little intro for us, man?
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I appreciate it, Caleb. Thanks for having me on the channel. And
Of course.
so my name is Nate. I'm the owner of Fresh Coat Marketing. So we are a marketing company, and really we've been working specifically with painting contractors. And what we do is just we help to just grow their business and really reach their full potential. So we don't just do cookie cutter stuff. We really get to know the client and specifically recommend, the strategies that's going to work for them. And it differs, right? But for the most part, it's all around websites, SEO, marketing. And what I really try to do is just just really take care of the marketing part of it so that, our clients can focus on what they do best, which is, delivering awesome painting services. And honestly, in today's day and age, you really have to know what you're doing when it comes to online marketing. It's very, very competitive, especially in bigger markets. And so we just work really closely with our clients just to help them, attract more leads, get more clients, and just get that sustainable growth that everyone's looking for.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of run you through an example here, and I want your feedback before we dive deeper into a few things. Let's say I come to you, all right? I've got
Okay.
Caleb's painting. I'm making about $250,000 a year in sales. I've got sort of one crew, and I subcontract a few jobs, things like that. But for the most part, I want to go from a small business to like a mid-sized company here. Okay. And for the most part, I just rely off of referrals. I don't have a social media presence.
Okay.
Maybe I have a couple profiles, but they're not great. Let's say I come to you. What would you recommend somebody in that situation? Like, how do you analyze that? And also, like, what are the first steps? Do I immediately start running ads? Do I make a website? Like, what are kind of the steps there?
Great question, man. So, what I like to start off with is understanding the landscape of kind of where we're at nowadays.
Mhm.
So, if you think about it from a customer's perspective, like where are they searching for a painting company? And that's where we need to show up. So, um, a good portion of people just go straight to Google unless they already have like a referral or like a family friend. Google and then obviously Facebook as well too. So with that said, you have to take, an inventory of where they're kind of at. So oftentimes people come, they're like, someone made me a little website 3 years ago. It's kind of up there. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, not doing much with it. So the first step is really taking inventory of kind of where you're at and the quality of the assets that you have, i.e. the website. So once we kind of determine kind of where they're at in terms of what previously they've done and where they're wanting to go, then we can start to put together like the strategies, right? So if you don't have a decently looking website, if you go on an estimate and someone's like, "Oh yeah, can I see your website?" and you get that little cringe moment, then you need to start with the website. And it doesn't have to be something that's gonna break the bank, but you have to work with someone that knows what they're doing. Oftentimes, if you just take a look at a website, you can be there for 10 seconds and understand if this is a high quality website or not. And again, it's not going to be like a super determining factor, but if you can grease the wheel, so to speak, when you're on your estimates and, portray your company in the best manner, it's just going to help with, getting the deal and, growing the business. So first thing's the website. And then to tie into that, that's where the organic strategies come into play. So you want to have a good mix of things. So we go with organic with the website and SEO. And then I always tell clients, you always need to be running ads. So whether that be Google, Facebook, whatever you need to do out there, you need to start getting used to spending money to getting leads in the door right away because SEO, I do this for a long time. You're not going to go from overnight to getting like a ton of leads. It's a slow burn, but if you're truly want your business to succeed at the highest levels, you need to be competitive from an SEO perspective. And then
Okay.
the ads bring in the leads right away.
Okay. And so let's talk a little bit more about that website here. Do you think it's better to
Cool.
have a crappy website or no website at all? If you're brand new starting out, maybe you do this on
That's
your
a
own.
great question.
Do you throw up one of those free Google websites, or do you just like, what, I'm just gonna hold off until I can have a professional do it? If you're in that situation, what would you kind of say?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
So I would say if you are just starting out and you don't have the means to, go ahead and put up that, little site and, make sure you have your logo, make sure it looks okay. The thing that you don't want is when you show someone the website and they're like, kind of get that little weird look like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
as long as it looks okay and decent, it's a good starting point. But as soon as you can, you want to invest in a website and
Okay.
it just pays dividends over the long term.
Okay. So, what are some of those things that a good website should have? Like, what do we want them to do on this website, and what's the actual purpose? Like, obviously, everybody knows, hey, I should probably have a website, but like, why? Like, what is the real purpose behind that?
Absolutely. So, in the painting industry, if you search on Google right now, any painting related keyword, painter near me, commercial, exterior, anything, the landscape has changed, right? So now we have local service ads at the very top, then it goes Google ads, and then it goes the maps, and then we have the website listings on there. So a lot of people kind of confuse this. But if you want to show up organically, meaning, not pay for the leads when you show up on Google, you really have to have the website tied in specifically with the Google My Business listing. And so what that kind of looks like is you have to have, proper keywords in the proper places on the site. And then that ties into the Google My Business listing. And the thing with Google is you just want to be in all the places that you can be. So if you're already running ads on uh, Google Guaranteed or local service ads, and then you're running Google ads, what's the next logical step? You want to show up in the maps and you want to show up in the website listings. Think
Yeah.
about it if you're a consumer, right? You show up, you see, okay, Caleb's painting is at the top. Oh, it's in the maps and it's in the website listings and they got
Yeah.
good reviews. I'm
Yeah.
reaching out and get an estimate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. With most of the clients that you build, what are some of like the staples? Like, do you have, I would assume like a contact form of some sort? Do you have testimonials on the website? Do you let people actually book right into an estimate on the website? Like, what are some of those tools or, you know, things that every good website should have?
Yeah. So you need to have a really good contact form that has just enough friction to weed out the people that aren't serious, but let in the people that are serious. So I like to use two types of forms. One that's like really easy for people to kind of get in, and then one is a multi-step form. The
Okay.
multi-step form, you can just collect more information and it just, the lead is just a little bit higher quality because you can collect those information. And then when you give them a call, you already know their whole situation. And then you could easily go into the estimate from there. Apart from the contact forms, what you really want to have is testimonials and not just like on the page itself. We always want to have like a little widget that pops up with like, hey, here's our most recent testimonials on there. And another thing that I really like to do is video. Not
Okay.
all clients have this type of video, but if they have any type of video, it really elevates the website from just like a normal website to like, okay, wow, like this is really nice. And it really helps to connect with the customer because they can either see your job, see the owner working, see the people working. It's so much better than like a generic, painted house, that don't get me wrong, it looks nice sometimes, but like
Yeah.
people want to see people at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it is worthwhile kind of presenting either the business owner or the salesperson, like kind of getting to meet the person that's going to come to your house? Do you think that's valuable?
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely. And there's multiple ways you can do that on the site. You could have a little video on there. What I like to do, I don't know if a lot of people do this, but I just took it from like kind of like old school marketing stuff. But when someone submits the form, you can do a redirect, and so that takes them to like another page, and that page is basically um, just another opportunity for you as the business owner. So you can either have a video of you on there or tell them the next step that's going to happen. And it just puts the customer at ease. Like, okay, I submitted the form, they got it. And imagine this, like you go to a website, you submit the form, and then you get a picture or a video of Caleb, and he's like, "Hey, this is Caleb's painting. I really appreciate you submitting the form. I'm going to call you personally, and then I'm going to set you up with my lead estimator, set that up. So then when you do call, they're like, oh, hey, how are you? And it just smooths
Yeah.
that whole thing out. But again, it's like, it's these little things that just like add up, right? So you can't just be do like, okay, I'm gonna do one thing and that's it. It's like you have to take it from like a holistic kind of perspective.
Okay. And I mean, I have my own speculations here, but uh, I want to know your opinion. Do you think that having a nice professional website kind of convinces customers to pay you more because they trust you more if you look professional?
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. Especially in painting, obviously they want to see, you can do the work and stuff like that. But if you can show, your professionalism through the website. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. Like most people that come to me, they're like, some guy built a website 3 years ago. I don't even have access to it. I don't know what's going on. And then I
Yeah.
take a look and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we can definitely do better than this. And then I
Yeah.
take a look at their competitors, right? We, go on Google, take a look here, and I'm like, this looks like it was from the 1990s. This one is like, this and that. And don't get me wrong, like, if it's working, it's working, right? But like
Yeah.
in today's day and age, like you really have to have like a decent looking website.
Okay. So if you were to say like the main goal of the website, is that to showcase pictures of your work, to build trust, or is it to like is it really just kind of like an information gathering machine where like the main goal is to get them to fill out this form so they become your lead? Like do you have like a kind of like a main goal there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, I come from the websites and kind of SEO world, and typically, the goal of a website is to be basically your 24/7 salesman. So it can do a lot of different things, but what I like to use it for most is to be like a salesperson for myself. So typically this will happen. So someone will search on Google, they'll maybe see you in the maps, and then they'll click over to your website, and then they'll take a look at your stuff, and then they'll submit the form. But within the analytics, you can see that they've either, this is actually quite interesting. So one of the most popular pages, other than the homepage, is the About Us page. And
Yeah.
my theory on that is they want to see the people like behind the company. Because painting can be it can get up there as far as the prices for jobs, and so they really want to trust the person. And there's some painting contractors that are, for lack of a better word, just not exactly the best business owners that may leave job sites half done or this or that. There's a little bit of a stigma there. So if you could have the website to help overcome that a little bit, it just helps with your sales process. And then if someone's, saw your reviews, went to your About Us page, submitted the contact form, it's a pretty good lead and you have a very good chance of actually getting that job.
Yeah. And that's to kind of reinforce what you said. We see that all the time when we're running ads for clients, is that, yeah, they may see you originally on the ad, but then they go back to your website and then they look you up on Google and then they do all these other things before they actually end up reaching out. So they all kind of work together. Like
Yes.
if you have good ads, you'll get leads. If you have a good website, you'll get leads. But if you have
Yes.
good ads and a good website, you will get so much better because they work together to, prop up your business, give you that professional feel that's going to help you book those higher jobs, work in those nicer neighborhoods,
Yep.
and do that kind of stuff here. Um, so very interesting, very cool. Um, it sounds like you build most of these on WordPress. Is that pretty much accurate here?
Yes. So our favorite kind of stack to use is WordPress. Because it's a huge open source platform. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. So we use WordPress and then Elementor. Elementor is what's considered like a page builder, and you layer that with WordPress, and you're able to just really create like awesome designs that are also loading fast and have all the SEO capabilities, and you can really build out like meaty websites. And there's all kinds of different plugins you can use as well too. You do want to keep the plugins a little light because every plugin you add just adds like a little bit more weight to the website and it becomes a little slower.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of a balance there, but WordPress and Elementor, backbone of all of our websites.
Okay. And let's talk SEO. Now, I don't know much at all about SEO. We don't offer that for our clients. That's not something that we currently really do. We really specialize in running the paid ads and we set the appointments for all of our clients. But in terms of like website building and SEO, that's not really our specialty. SEO is obviously very powerful. It's kind of like a slow burn. But let's just kind of start from the beginning here. Like, what the heck is actually SEO?
Great question, man. So,
Yeah.
before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little story. So, when I first got into digital marketing, the first job that I got, basically, I got handed 50 websites, and I was like, they were like, okay, go do SEO work on this. And I was like, okay. And so I was able to spend about like an hour to 2 hours per website. And then what I was able to do because of that was just do all kinds of tests. So, I would do a little something on this website and spend an hour on it. And then the next month when I would go and check it, I'd be like, okay, this moved up or like this moved down. And I start to like correlate all these little changes. And of course, I devoured all the SEO courses and all that kind of stuff, but there's
Yeah.
nothing like kind of hands-on teaching in there. So that's where I cut my teeth. And that's where I really started to understand, okay, I make this change and this happens to the traffic and stuff. And my first big success story wasn't actually in the painting industry, but I grew this physical therapy website to like I think it was like either 60,000 or I can't remember exactly. It was like 50 or 60,000 searches a month in like 6 months,
Wow.
and I was just like mind blown because I was just like, first of all, these real people, like yes, it looks like it from the analytics, and I just like saw the power of SEO when it comes to websites and online stuff. So that's where I got started. Um, and I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions when it comes to SEO. So to start off with, really SEO is when it comes to like painting contractors now, it's there's really two parts to it. So one, there's the maps, the actual Google My Business listings, and then the website.
Okay.
Um, I kind of hate to say this as a person who got into SEO, but the websites, the listings have just been getting pushed down over time. Before it was just 10 blue links.
Yeah.
That was it. And they got the majority of the traffic. But now you have the Google guaranteed, you have the ads, you have the maps. And so this is why you just need to keep up with the competitive landscapes. And that's why digital marketing changes like every 6 months. And if you're not like keeping up with it, you're just going to get left behind. Um, so really, if you're a painting contractor, just focus on the Google Maps and then focus on your website SEO. And I could get to either one of those. Let me know what you want me to get into.
Let's talk about Google Maps first, because I think,
Okay.
if you there's pros and cons of each, but how I like to sum it up is that, on Facebook, you're going to get a lot more volume, and consistency is going to be your best friend.
Yes.
That's why we paired that
Yes.
with our appointment setting services, is because, we do all that heavy lifting with the follow-up and stuff like that to nurture those leads, because we're going to need a little bit more nurturing on Facebook. Google, it's going to be a little bit more ready to go, but it still has some organic elements, so you're kind of just waiting for people to reach out. So there's obviously pros and cons of each. Ideally, you should be doing both, but
Yes.
like that's how I like to preface it. But I do think that,
Yeah.
heck, man, if you can just move from like number five to number two on that Google search list, you know, you that will pay dividends. So I'd say let's start Google, and then we'll kind of dive into the website.
Cool. So with Google Maps, the thing is now it's really showing three companies. And a lot of people don't realize this too, because I get a lot of questions about this. So with Google Maps, it's very location dependent. So really, you're looking at about from your specific address, like your pin on the map, it's usually about a 10 to like 20-mile radius at the biggest. And that is the area that you can rank in. And what do I mean by rank is when people search like painter near me, you show up there. A lot of times people are like, oh, I want to rank in this city like 30 minutes away, or like, oh, I have a city that I really want to rank like over here. But just logistically, you're never going to rank there because there's painting companies that have an address in that city. So focus on trying to rank within a 10 to 20-mile radius from your actual like pin on the map.
Okay.
And the biggest thing is a lot, like literally almost every client that we work with has this problem. They just signed up for the listing when they first started the company. Maybe have a few little reviews. That's about it. But there's so much that you can do with the Google My Business listing. There's like the products, there's services, there's a description, which page you link to the website, all that stuff matters. And then there's also all kinds of different things like citations, which is basically mentions of your website across the web on Yelp, Nextdoor, all these types of things. There's a term that we use that's called NAP. It's called name, address, and phone number, and you want to have that consistent when Google searches your company name, like across the web. that helps to build your like authority. I'm sure people have heard that word when it comes to SEO.
Yeah.
And so that really helps to build up your authority. And there's also some other kind of ninja stuff that you can do. I'll mention a few here. So press releases.
Okay.
A lot of people don't use press releases when it comes to local SEO, but there's a really cool way that we can do press releases and tie that into your Google My Business listing. So not
Hmm.
only does it like generate links, which is inbound authority, but it also ties into your Google My Business listing, which it's notoriously hard to get links to your Google My Business listing itself. So that really, really helps.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example here too. So I was just working with this client. They're in Staten Island. It's a very, very populated area. He didn't have, or he had a website, but it was like very, very bad. So I was like, hey, if you want to rank in the maps, we need to create you a new website and optimize it correctly. And then we built the website, launched it. I don't know, maybe it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And now his Google My Business listing is starting to pop into the top three. And I just had a call with him and he was like, how does this work? Like, what did you do? And I was like, we needed to have a good website. And then it powered up the Google My Business listing. And it's kind of cutthroat, man, because he's up
Yeah.
in the position now, but now someone else got dropped down. So,
Yeah.
it's a competitive landscape, and you really have to be at the kind of like cutting edge of this stuff to like be at the top. So,
Okay. So I have two numbers for you. I try to give people that watch and people that listen like as many practical examples as possible. Now, obviously, this is marketing, so it depends, on your competitors, on your local area, whatever. Like, but
yeah.
how, and I'm gonna ask this question for two things. So reviews. How many, based on everybody
Mm.
you see, everybody you work with, like how many would you consider good reviews? 10, 100, 10,000? Like how many like do you need?
It's a great, great question. So,
Mhm.
again, it depends on your competitors, but I would say a really good goal is to get to 100. If you can
100
get to
reviews?
100 reviews, I would say 8 times out of 10, that will alone, yeah, that will help you alone just get to the top of Google when it comes to the maps. Now, I know 100 reviews sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
but if you put in some automations to help with that, you can definitely get up there. And here's the thing too. So a lot of my clients are really good at it, and some of my clients are not so good at it. And I talk to the people that are really good at it, and I'm like, "What's your secret? Like, how are you getting so many reviews?" Yeah, and it's just old-fashioned hard work. You got
Yeah.
to ask your clients, and then you got to follow up with them. Like I asked one client who's 134 reviews, and I'm like, "How are you getting so many reviews and this and that?" And he was like, "I just call them, and then I just follow up." And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"There's got to be some secret sauce or something else,"
Yeah.
but like, it's manual work, and that's why it's hard, and that's why people don't do
Yeah.
it at the end of the day.
I the review sauce that I like from Alex Hormozy is that he always recommends to ask them like right at the height of excitement. So when they're like, "Oh, this looks
Mm,
beautiful. This is awesome. Thank you so much," like at that point, then you're like, "Oh, of course, anytime. Would you mind leaving me a review?" Of course,
yeah.
no problem. Like asking
Yeah.
them right there, not like calling them 3 months later and like, "Oh, hey, remember me?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like asking them right at the height of excitement, any like
Yes.
that applies to many scenarios, like asking for
Yes.
the sale at the height of excitement or asking for the review or whatever
Yes.
at the height of excitement, and not 2 months later. But yeah, obviously the follow-up is needed. But that's what I like
Yeah.
to do. I do that with my own clients too. If they're like, "Hey, thank you so much. This is going great." I'm like, "Okay, great. Can you leave me a review? Or
Yeah.
can you fill out a testimonial?"
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about websites real quick. So what
Cool.
about views? How many views should I actually get on my website? Like what is good?
That's a good question. So this again really depends on the area. If you're in like a highly populated area, there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of stuff to go around. If you're in kind of a smaller area, there's not that much traffic. So what I really like to pay attention to is first you need to track things, right? So you need to have a way to see your analytics, which is usually Google Analytics. And if you're working with a website company, they'll be able to install any of that stuff and look at what's going on there. That's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect of it is tracking your rankings through like a software tool. Like I use Ahrefs. There's a lot of the tools out there, and you get to really see, how you're progressing. what you're ranking for, and what you really want to see is just consistent rankings. Traffic ebbs and flows. Painting is a seasonal, type of business, especially if you're like on the East Coast and you get heavy rains or snows or stuff like that. So the
Hmm.
traffic, even if you're ranking number one, will actually fluctuate like over the month. So I'm not necessarily too worried about like net volume. I just want to make sure that we're still at the top. And by the top, I mean you want to be in the top like usually 3 to 5 at the most. Like you want to be in the top half of the rankings. But a lot of people also, I've seen this happen a lot, is they create a website and it's like 1 or 2 pages, 3 pages, and that's a big no-no. So what you want to do when you have a website that's like you're trying to get like leads from is each service that you guys offer, you want to have a dedicated page for that. So for
Okay.
example, in our industry, it's interior, exterior, commercial, cabinets, stuff like that, because the way people search locally, they do service, like cabinet, for example, and then the area.
Okay.
And if you can create individual pages for that, Google understands each page like very clearly. For example, if we have a page on our site, it's about cabinets, and we're trying to rank in, let's say, Miami, Florida. We would create a page just for that. It would say cabinet painting in Miami, Florida. And then when Google is doing its, algorithm thing, it happens in, a split second. And so it searches millions of websites and then it tries to find the most relevant one. And it does that by looking at the actual like code on the site. And if it sees all these different references to a certain city and service, it knows to, show your website like at the top. And I've seen this a lot of times. They usually have like interior, exterior, commercial, like this and that on one page, but it just gets confusing for Google because they're like, I don't know which page to show because in comparison to another site, it's very clear like this page is all about cabinet painting and this one is like all jumbled up. And so this one just stays, page 2, 3, 4, 5 of Google, which is basically like non-existent. If you're not on the first page,
Yeah.
like no one even finds you anymore. So
Yeah. You're
that's
in
some of the things.
you're in Google jail at that point. Okay.
Yeah, you're
Um,
in purgatory.
okay, that's funny you mentioned that because that does bring up something. I have seen an issue with clients before where we are running. We used to offer some Google local service ads and regular Google ads. We don't really do that too much anymore. We really focus on Facebook and appointment setting. But I've heard that if you are not on top of it, you can kind of get thrown in Google jail, where they don't really send you leads because you're not picking up the phone if you're not managing them properly. Is that accurate?
Yes. So that mostly pertains to the local service ads, and that's a real thing. So I've been on
Okay.
the phone with local service ads a bunch for different purposes and stuff like that. But I've asked them usually every time I try to ask them like a question or two. And they've always said that if they consistently see you not picking up the phone, they will start to deprioritize your profile and give it to other people who will actually answer the phone. Because if you think about it from their perspective, if someone's using local service ads and they call someone and they don't get a call back, not the
Yeah.
best experience.
Yeah.
So that's why they do that.
Okay. What are some of the ways that you, with your clients, have been kind of making sure that that doesn't happen? Using like an answering service or like anything like that?
Yes. So a lot of the times people are like, let's say I'm open for 24/7 and then okay, you can but you're gonna get calls at like 10 p.m. Are you gonna answer? And and every time you don't answer, it's just like a slight little ding on the account, slight little ding. So I tell my clients, hey, when can you answer the phone? And they tell me, oh, 8 to 5 or like 9 to 4 or whatever it is. And I go, okay, that's what we're gonna set the ads live for. Any other time beyond that, really only if you have an answer. That is a competitive advantage because then you could have your listing um be available 24/7. So that is definitely an advantage.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So, is there a specific order that you do things? It sounds like, website, get that all cleaned up, then kind of dive into like LSA or pay per click. Does that sound accurate, or is there like a different order that you like to set things up in?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the LSA, the Google guaranteed, it takes a couple of weeks to get that set up. So we do like to like first week just start the process. You get to start
Okay.
your background check, you have to do some of your insurance and stuff like that. And sometimes the background check can just take a little bit of time. So we do like to get that going in the very beginning. And then we typically like to start building the website. Website building process is not like a super quick thing. Especially if you want to design it with like the brand colors and really make it
Yeah.
a really professional website. You're not going to be able to make that in like a week or two. So you start the process with the website, but then you want to get like Facebook going
Mhm.
or Google going pretty much right away as well too. Because local service ads, it's not going to be like a main source of leads. Like, sometimes it can be, but you really can't rely on it. And
Mhm.
so it's really good for generating just like a nice little baseline of leads, but it's not going to be like Facebook or it's not going to be like a Google type of thing.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, local service
Okay.
ads first, website. As we're building that, get Facebook and Google going.
Okay. So realistically, when you work with a new client, getting all this set up, website, everything like that, what kind of timeline can they expect?
Yeah, so websites typically take about like a month to 2 months to create. And that's because we're not just creating like a one-page site or like a two-page site. They're usually very meaty websites. So it's got all the service pages about us. We like to put like a media page on there. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then we also like to create a whole bunch of city pages. And what I mean by city pages is if you're, let's say, go back to the Miami example. So if you're in Miami, there's all kinds of little towns and little cities like within Miami,
Mhm.
and you want to create pages to rank in all those different little cities as well too. So
Okay.
apart from like your main city, you want to create city pages to rank in all these other different areas as well too.
Okay. So on the website side, um, what can somebody, and I know that this depends, but like it depends on what they need, what might be a good fit, what kind of different packages that you have, but like is there like a general budget that somebody should expect to have when shopping for websites?
Actually, a really good question, man. So, I think websites can range, from the low end, you're talking a couple $1,000s to, on the higher end, could be, and really depending on the scope of the website, it could be, 5,000 plus. And the things that make websites, more expensive is the number of pages. Because think about it, each page needs, and if you, this is kind of the next level stuff too as well, but you need to create the content for those pages, right? So the image is the content itself, like the words on the page. And typically, if you're going through the effort to create a website, you don't want to like, half-ass it. So you don't want to just have like 100 words on the page or 200 words on the page. You want to have a meaty website. So you want to be looking at between like 800 and like 1,000 words per page. And then you multiply that by like across, 10 pages, 20 pages, all of a
Yeah.
sudden you talk about like, 10,000 to 20,000 words of content. And that's
Yeah.
just the content part of it, right? So, there's a lot that goes into websites and that really factors into the price of it, essentially.
Okay. Now, who are kind of the main clients that you usually work with? Are they people who are like, they've been operating for many years and they're trying to take their business to the next level? Do you usually operate with like, larger painting companies, mid-size? Who do your clients look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say honestly, as long as they have a good attitude and they understand that we're not like magicians over here. I don't wave a magic wand and then like leads just come pouring out of nowhere. Like it's a process. And there's a lot of stuff, like you said before, depends on where you are, like what your goals are. So as long as they have like a good attitude towards marketing, they know it's going to take some time to get the website, get the SEO going. We'll work with most painting contractors that have like a really good attitude towards marketing. Now there is like a bottom end, if you're making less than like 100, 200,000 per year, there's just not enough, meat on the bone to be able to like pay a marketing agency and, pay for leads and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of a cutoff as well too, but there's edge cases where someone's like, hey, this is my second painting company. I did 100 this year. I want to do, 300 to 400 next year. Like I know I need to spend on marketing. Those are different cases. But in general, like it really just depends on the client because like I said, as long as they have a good attitude and they know we're in this together, and they don't expect us just, to be like magicians, it's usually a good fit.
Okay, awesome. Now, let's say, I'm listening to this and I want to learn a little bit more. Where's the best place to find you? Would that be your website that's on the link in the description here, or is there somewhere else they should look for you?
No, yeah, just send it to the site. I'm usually very responsive if someone submits the form on the site, and I'm always happy to chat about this marketing stuff. I can chat about this all day, and so if you have any questions or comments, or you're like, "Hey, I saw this other dude doing this thing. Like, what does that mean?" I really enjoy that part of it because it's kind of like demystifying like online marketing and for these types of clients. And a lot of the times, man, these painting contractors, we work with that you work with, like they're good people. They do good work. It's just they don't understand the online landscape. And for them to take the time and the effort to go like learn all this stuff, like it really doesn't make sense. Like they just need to work with someone that knows what they're doing, that can help them kind of navigate all these different waters and have them just focus on what they're doing really well, running the business, going to estimates, closing the deals, hiring people, and leave the online stuff to us. And I always tell people too, when they're coming on board, it's like, hey, this is a partnership. You know what I mean? Like we work like in tandem with you and we're in the trenches with you. So like if you want us just to sit back and just send you leads or talk to us like once every couple of months, like that's not really what we do. So if you are willing to do that and like be in the trenches with us, this would be a great fit. But if you just want someone to like things. So but yeah, if you want to get in contact, just go to the website and submit the form.
Guys, it's like realistically, if you are at that spot where you're making 200, $300,000 a year and you really want to take your business to the next level, a website, a nice professional website is going to be the way to do that, man. There's a lot of things that you can add on at that level to really take you there. There's leads, there's ads, Facebook, Google, all that stuff. But having a nice professional website is going to present yourself better. Give you the ability to charge more for jobs. And realistically, like even if you spend $10,000 on a website and it only helps you close one extra job, that it paid for itself right there. It's definitely worth it investing in that. Nate is phenomenal,
Yeah.
great personal friend of mine. We even work together on some projects, on some clients. There will be a link below if you want to check out his website. And there will also be a link below if you want to check out some Taurify stuff as well. We were, very happy to have you on the show here, Nate. And is there anything for dessert here? Anything last that you want to close out on? Any closing comments?
I would just say if you guys are looking for marketing, I think you really got to like trust the person that you're working with. I can vouch for Caleb. He is the man when it comes to ads. So if you guys are looking for ads, anything related to that, please talk to Caleb. He can definitely set you guys straight. If you guys are looking for any SEO, website stuff, always happy to chat with you guys about that. And look, in the end, we're all trying to grow our businesses, and you just got to find the right person to help you, and that could totally unlock growth for your company.
I hope this video has provided you guys with some value today. Thank you all for tuning in. If you liked this video, please leave us a review, like, comment, share, do the things. And I promise it really means the world to us here. Thank you all so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.